With the release of the new Dead Space remake, many new players have come to the game, and all the veterans most likely forgot the main mechanics of this game. So today I'm going to make a list of unknown facts in Dead Space Remake. Most of these facts will be centered around the most efficient ways to defeat certain enemies, but there's going to be some other small facts that other video creators don't mention. The first fact is that you can buy infinite items in shops. Normally in other survival horror games, shop items aren't infinite. Once you buy 3 or 4 of them, the shop is out of stock and you can't buy any. But in Dead Space this situation is different. Most of the items like health bottles, ammo and even notes can be infinitely acquired as long as you have the money. The only item that can be out of stock are unique items, which are most of the time special suit or weapon upgrades. Speaking about weapon upgrades, this brings us to our second fact. Don't focus on weapon upgrades. I know this sounds weird at first, but what I mean to say is that don't try to buy as fast as possible a specific weapon upgrade. During the first 3 chapters of the game, you discover a lot of weapons and a lot of unique upgrades for them, which are quite expensive. And most of the people, including me, want to buy these upgrades as fast as possible, but this is a mistake. You see, if you buy these upgrades as fast as possible, you won't have enough money for essential items like medkits and ammo, which will result in a ton of deaths. At this point, I should probably mention that all the footage I have made, I was playing on hard difficulty, so if you're playing on normal, maybe you would consider buying some of these weapon upgrades, but there is a second reason why you shouldn't. You see, most weapon upgrades give a huge boost to your weapons, but because of that, they are really far away in the upgrade tree. So even if you buy this unique modification, you wouldn't be able to apply it because you just don't have enough nodes to get it. But obviously if you have a good amount of health and ammo, you might want to consider buying some of these upgrades just to acquire them in the future. Another important point is that there are many weapons in the game, and once you acquire new ones, older ones become worthless, so it's actually very important to upgrade a weapon you will use and not throw away as soon as you find a new one. Another weapon fact is about the flamethrower, and it's about the fact that you can't use it while in a place without oxygen. This makes a lot of sense because for something to burn or explode you need oxygen, so that's why the flamethrower doesn't work. As I said, this fact makes a lot of sense, but it's still pretty nice that the developers thought of this and implemented it into the game. The next fact is also related to guns, although more like why you shouldn't use them. Now, I'm not telling you to do a no guns run, but I'm just saying that maybe you want to shift your focus to melee combat. More specifically, stomping. Because not only you can open crates with it, but it's actually very effective in taking out necromorphs that are on the ground. My strategy for this is pretty simple. Shoot their legs so they start to crawl, and then spam the spacebar button to stomp as fast as possible so they're not even able to hit you. But regular melee attacks are also pretty good. Obviously, if you have a horde of necromorphs in front of you, it will be better to use guns, but if there is just one of them in front of you, how about considering punching them to death next time? As you've already noticed, I started talking about the most efficient ways to defeat enemies, and this next part is going to be just that. Regular necromorphs are easy to deal with and don't pose a big threat, so I would recommend using weak weapons like the plasma cutter, flamethrower and obviously melee. alongside explosive barrels and telekinesis. There are also this type of flying necromorphs, which I actually recommend not killing because they spawn other necromorphs which upon death will drop loot. So technically it's a money farm. The next type of enemies we're gonna look at are these baby necromorphs. Most of the time they're quite annoying because they can walk on walls and shoot at you from a distance, but they're actually very easy to take out. Everything you need is one non-upgraded shredder shot and they are dead. Yet another annoying enemy are these small bug-like necromorphs. Normally by the time you meet them, you just acquired the flamethrower, which is a sign that you should use it on them. And it is true. Actually, I would argue that the flamethrower is the only way to kill them because hitting them with bullets is too difficult because of their size, and trying to stun them is impossible because they immediately jump onto you and do quite a bit of damage. The next enemy we're gonna look at is the exact opposite. He is massive and has a ton of health. It is the Brute. All brute encounters in games are optional, so you don't have to actually kill them, you can just run away. But I strongly recommend taking these big boys down because they drop a node upon defeat, which can come really handy upgrading your weapons. Normally brutes have a lot of health, but they have weak spots that allow you to amputate their limbs. As you can see on your screens, these weak spots look like some kind of cluster of blisters. In theory this sounds easy, just hit the weak spots and that's all, but it's actually quite difficult because the brutes are very fast compared to their size. I strongly recommend you use the stasis in order to hit the weak spots, but if you don't have any, a good strategy will be to run away and bait their ranged attack because during it they won't move, which gives you a window to hit the weak spot. And in terms of weapons, I strongly recommend using the combat rifle. The next and final enemy we're gonna look at appears near the middle of the game, and they are these corpses with tentacles. For now I have only completed half of the game, but I think it's safe to say that these enemies are the worst in the entire game. First of all, they spawn other enemies that have a ranged attack. Second, they are invincible, which means that they can infinitely pump out these beacons as long as you are in their field of view. And third, they one-shot you once you get too close. So I would just recommend you to run. But seriously, don't focus on the spawned enemies as they will infinitely come out and this will just waste your ammo. What I recommend you to do is use stasis in order to slow down their spawn rate, if they are located in a room where you wanna spend some time. But if not, just run past them and it will be good. So these were all Dead Space tips I have acquired for now. I will probably release another video once I've completed the game, of course. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye.